Welcome into Kyle White Stadium as tonight Anahuac Sports Live brings you the second district game for the Anahuac Panthers as the Orangefield Bobcats come into town to attack as both teams coming in 1-0 this evening. Anahuac opening up district play, defeating Hardin 65-12 in a game that really wasn't in doubt from start to finish.
No, it wasn't, Alex. I mean, last year, the Anahuac Panther offense, they really put on a show. They dominated Hardin, 65-12 in the first district game of the season. You can't ask for much out of a football team than what they put on last week. 454 yards of total offense with 8 touchdowns. I mean, it was just something to see.
Really, the way that it's been, and even talking to head coach Neese before or during the pregame, you can pretty much go copy-paste week after week with freshman quarterback Brady Barrier as what he's doing as a freshman, not only in 3A play, but really in any level of competition is unbelievable.
Well, and it is. I mean, you can't express how athletic this kid is and how gifted he is. And, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the kid, he's a young kid. He's a freshman. 71 completions, 100 out of 121 attempts, and passing just over 1,100 yards and only 1 interception. I think that's the stat that jumps off the sheet for me more than anything. Even the 13 touchdowns, but even you look at the bottom of that graphic there, 121 passer rating, and any level, that's a big deal.
So we talk about the freshman quarterback, but there are a string of sophomores who really chip in with their play, and one of his favorite targets this year has been Quandre Coates.
Well, you said it just now. I mean, it's the sophomore impact is what I'm trying. It was what I'm calling it this week. The sophomores have contributed in a very, very big way to this team offensively and defensively. Quandre playing out of the tight end position and also playing defensive end, but on the offensive side, 25 catches, 376 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He's been the favorite target, like you just said, of Brady's all year, and I expect the Orangefield Bobcats to probably be keying on Quandre a little bit tonight to try to contain this passing game, and we'll see what happens with that.
Absolutely, and even along with Quandre, his running back who's been doing a lot of the work here for half the game so far has been sophomore running back Camden Wilson, and he made some outstanding open field moves last week.
Well, I said it before. He hits the holes up front faster than I've seen a kid of his age do in a very long time. He's filled in perfectly for Landon as Landon has dealt with a couple of things himself. But 46 rushes, 450 yards. I think that was over 3 kind of more complete games as it was as far as the 2 that he really didn't get a whole lot of touches on. But 4 touchdowns, averaging almost 10 yards a carry. And let's not forget that he can catch, too. He's got 4 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown on top of that. So Camden Hollywood Wilson is just a major factor when it comes to the sophomore impact.
The other sophomore running back in the backfield along with Camden, Thomas De La O, as he has played a pivotal role as well.
Well, Thomas is become more of a downhill runner. We've seen him, the first couple of games of the preseason, kind of a little bit timid. He was coming off of the arm injury. I think he was just trying to find his footing and trying to get back in a rhythm and getting back into this offense. He plays, linebacker on defense too. But in the last 3 games, he has really showed that he's a hard-nosed football player. And when he lowers his shoulder and leans forward, he gains an extra 2 or 3 yards on top of that, which you can see there. I mean, he's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. The stats don't really jump off of the sheet at you, but when you watch him run and when they need to go to him to get a first down or a short yardage situation, Thomas is the one to go to.
Absolutely. But a lot of the offense is keyed off by the defense. And Trent, easily, since we started broadcasting these football games, the best defense we've seen the Panthers have.
Well, that's no doubt. I mean, the Anahuac Panthers defense has done a really good job containing the runs, which they're going to have to do tonight because the Orangefield Bobcats is a run-heavy team. They run out of the slot T. They have a plethora of running backs to choose from. But as far as the secondary and them covering the pass, they've done an excellent job because we've seen pass-heavy teams the last few weeks of football. But the defense as a whole is just really meshing. They're really, showing that they're an elite defense and that can compete at a higher level.
Defense did unbelievable last week, holding the Hardin offense to 150 total yards of offense, 6 turnovers, 3 of those coming by interception. In fact, we talking about the sophomores earlier. Jason Nelson had one of his breakout performances last week.
Right.
Not only on special teams, but with an interception on defense.
And he did. I mean, that was great to see. I mean, you talk about the defensively and the sophomore impact. Tyler Kelly, over the last 3 games, has been flying all over the field, making his presence known. He's made some big hits. He's been getting into the backfield, causing havoc. He's really been playing his position like he's supposed to. And I expect if he does that tonight, if he really doesn't get overzealous and try to headhunt too much and just really plays his position like he's supposed to, then he's going to have success like we've seen in the last few weeks. But the secondary, like I talked about earlier, they've covered the deep threats well. Talon Cunningham had 2 interceptions last week. One that should have been a pick 6, but a little penalty that brought that back. And also, Brooks Enicky, you've got to be watching for him on the coverage too. But like I said, the Bobcats, they don't pass very much. I think I counted 5 or 6 passes total when they were playing Buna. So that's really not going to come into play a whole lot here tonight. So you're not going to see those big interceptions. But you never know, you might.
Special teams, we have seen week after week after week consistently getting a little bit better, and we definitely saw that last week.
Well, Fernando Cabrera, I mentioned it last week, you can tell that he's working extra to get better, and you always want to see that out of an athlete and a football player or any kind of player. You can tell that he's been working on his field goals, been working on his kickoffs, and it's paid off over the last couple of weeks where they've been coming a little bit more consistent. But the special teams is one of those things. They had one high snap on a punt last week, was a little bit of an error. On the kickoffs, you had a couple that went out of bounds, unfortunately, which will bring out the flags. But all in all, punt and kickoff coverage has been significantly better. We saw that when Brady Berrier was able to get into the backfield and recover a punt that bounced off of a returner's knee. That was something that you don't normally see your starting quarterback get down and get a recovery on a punt return.
No, that was interesting and had us looking at each other like something we hadn't seen before. So we're going to continue the Third Coast Martial Arts pregame show after this with the interview before the game with head coach Greg Neese as we continue after this on Anahuac Sports Live. Alex Outram joined by the head coach of the Anahuac Panthers, head coach Greg Neese, on the Third Coast Martial Arts pregame show. And Coach, opening up district play 1-0 with a decisive victory over the Hardin Hornets last week.
Yes, sir. We played pretty well. Made a lot of silly mistakes that we have to get better at, but it was good to go get that first district victory, and we call it the playoffs to make the state playoffs. So we're 1-0 and need to keep it going tonight.
I think one of the things that was noticed last week was tensions kind of rising on the field. How do you go about calming the team down and getting them to focus back on the game?
You've got to chew their butt, threaten them, take them out of the game, limit their playing time. I mean, we have to grow up in a lot of situations. We talked about that this week. I talked about it on Monday, and then today right before the game. And I said, gentlemen, you guys are a really, really good football team. I said, my only concern is how we handle things emotionally, because I said the stupid penalties we had the other night, you will not beat a team like Orangefield. I don't care what the record is, 2-2, 4-0, 0-4. You will not beat them. You won't beat East Chambers. you won't beat anybody in the playoffs. I don't care how good you are. I said, we cannot afford to. I think we had like 4 15-yard penalties and just silly stuff. So I think they handle it pretty well, and we'll see tonight if it went into their head and they're actually processed it and put it into action. So we'll see.
Offensive side of the football last Friday night, really just amazing how much y'all were able to live in Hornet territory starting off drives last week.
Right. We had a lot of good first down explosive plays. And, it was good for Brady Barrier, our quarterback, because he was from Hardin. That's where Coach Barrier was coaching. That's where Brady grew up, kind of as a 6th, 7th, and 8th grader, and he was their quarterback, so he was going against their friends. So it got really competitive and got a little chippy. We were able to move the ball, and I think when you're able to throw the football like we throw it, that always helps, and that really opens up our run game too.
Sounds week after week we talk about Brady Barrier, but last week again, another fantastic ball game from your freshman quarterback.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's when you see him out in his street clothes, like coming to school, and he's just so unassuming, and kind of like a throwback to Mayberry RFD, and he just has a good time. He always has a smile on his face, and he enjoys studying the game of football. Of course, he's got a live-in coach at home with his dad, and I like how they communicate with each other. And he's not overbearing, but Brady's willing to listen, and he's eager to learn and watch film. So it's a really great combination. I know those two enjoy how the season's going so far.
Seems like Quandre Coates and Robert Bailey are taking turns on which week they're gonna feast a little bit more. By the way, it's going. Hoping Robert has his game tonight.
Right. Yeah. Quandre kind of had his last week, and it's time for Big Rob. I would like for both of them to have one tonight. So, yeah, those guys, they get a lot of attention. They're 6'4", 6'5" guys, and very athletic. And Quandre's just a baby. He's 15 years old and 6'5", about 225, and got a lot of great skill. But those two guys, they play defensive end also. They're starting defensive ends, so that's a pretty menacing front when you, as a quarterback, coming up there and you're looking and you see 6'5" on both sides. So we're glad they're on our team.
Offensive line seemed to have another great game, along with opening up some really big holes for Camden Wilson last week.
Right, yeah. As far as the run blocking, I thought we really looked good. It wasn't perfect, but we really established a line of scrimmage and got to knock people off the ball with Mayon. And Mayon's really kind of our best lineman right now, even though you got Cooper coming back, who was a district O-lineman MVP last year. Mayon's having a fantastic year. He's a senior left tackle, and he's really doing well. And you got Hendricks also, who's a returner. He's all district player. So we got 3 really good linemen. And then the 2 guard positions, or the center position and the left guard position, we are, we're kind of young right there, but they're getting better and with the experience.
Camden Wilson and Thomas DeLo really handling the running back duties last week. Just really both made some great plays in the open field last week.
Right, they did. They're both talented, and again, sophomores. We call Big Rob the grandpa. He's a senior. And then those 2 running backs right there you just mentioned are sophomores. Our freshman quarterback, sophomore tight end, and sophomore split end. Those 2 running backs are really good. They're talented, and Wilson's doing a really good job filling in for Corbett.
Defensive side of the ball, only gave up 12 points last week, and really made it havoc in the backfield.
Yeah, I love the way we play defense. We're kind of established ourselves as a very good defensive team last year, and it's really carried over this year. And we just fly to the football. We might make some mistakes here and now, and they might rip off some yardage, but there's always someone chasing them down and making them snap it again. And if you got guys like that that are willing to do that and not give up on the play, then and make them re-snap it, then you have a chance to be really good on defense. And we got to be real good on defense tonight.
Speaking of the defense tonight, you've got an Orangefield Bobcat team coming into tonight using what a lot of people call a very old-school offense coming into tonight.
Yeah, you can say it's old school, but there's a lot of teams that still run it, and there's a reason why. mean, it's very tough to stop. And the thing is, when you go against a slot T and teams like that, they huddle close to the ball, they snap, or they break the huddle and they sprint to the line, and then they run the play in about 2 seconds. And if you're not ready to get lined up, they're going to gas you all night long. And if you're not playing your right technique and you're not playing your gap, they're going to find you and they're going to run all night long. And it's an aggressive style of offense, and if they start moving the ball, somebody's getting blocked, and probably pretty well and pretty aggressively. And it's kind of demoralizing if you can't stop them. So some people think it's boring, but it's really beautiful once you watch it, if you really love the game of football, of how they maneuver the football and know what to go to next if something stops. So.
Bobcats coming off a 28-14 win over Buna. When you look back at some of the film, what did you see them doing on defense?
Well, they swarm good at the football. They hustle, and like I told our team, they'll probably be the most disciplined team we play all year, maybe outside of East Chambers, but they'll be more disciplined than Newton, anybody else we play. So they play really good technique, and they swarm to the football. One thing I did see that y'all might want to look at tonight is they've had a tendency to get some pass interference penalties or holding the receivers off the line, and I spoke with the officials before the game and told them about that, because they always ask us anything you want us to look for. And I said, yeah, they're corners, really. If they get beat, they're grabbing cloth, and most of the time they're throwing flags on them. And I just want to make sure we keep getting those flags thrown.
As always, keys to victory tonight.
Take care of the football. And we've been really good, and knocking on wood right now, we've been really good as far as taking care of the football with our fumbles and or no fumbles, and I think we've had one pass interception. And then our takeaways, I think we have like 19 takeaways on defense. So, if we're able to stop their possessions and get a turnover and do something with it and, limit our turnovers, we'll have a successful night.
All right, Coach. Well, appreciate the time before the game, and best of luck in tonight's contest.
All right, Alex, thank you.
You got it. Head coach Greg Neese of the Anahuac Panthers, as we'll continue with the Third Coast Martial Arts pregame show after this on Anahuac Sports Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we'll have a student-led prayer by Eric Muniz.
Father in heaven, we ask for your blessing on the game we are about to play. Give each one of us the courage to play this game in a manner of which, by our words and our actions, is pleasing to you. Let us enter into this competition in a spirit of sportsmanship and with respect for the members of opposing team. We ask you, Father, to bless each one of us, especially the coaches, officials, parents, and players. Keep us under the protection of your Son, Jesus Christ, and help us be aware of this presence with us in this game. Amen.
At this time we'll have the playing of the national anthem. The flag has been raised tonight by FFA members Heather De La Cruz, Kiara Beecham, and MJ Johnson. The captains are meeting at midfield with referee Stewart. Toss of the coin for tonight's contest. Anahuac has won the toss and has elected to receive. The Bobcats will kick off and defend the south end of the field. Setting up the kickoff for the Bobcats, number 5, Butler. pass, second down.
Grabbing and unbelievable catch by Talon Cunningham as he was dragged down by the defender, just like head coach Greg Neese was talking about. But what a catch. Quick to the line, top right, Gibson across the 30, finding his way forward down to the 28. 40-yard passing catch.
15 Wilson on the field. We have an official timeout taken on the field. Injured player.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Just a first down around the Panthers 25-yard line. First and 10.
Bobcat 25.
Merchandise. Porter's Processing and Alligator Farm offers a personal experience like no other. Locally owned and operated in Anahuac, Texas since 1987, Porter's has been Southeast Texas' premier choice for any hunting adventure need. Now offering full-service processing of gator, deer, beef, hogs, and other wild game. Make Porter's Processing this hunting season's one-stop shop. Visit them today at portersprocessing.com or call 409-267-8413.
First and 10. No gain on the play, second down. On the carry, and out 5, 39-yard line, third and 5. Gain of 4 on the carry, fourth down and 1. On the carry, gain of 2 on the play. First and 10, 45-yard line. Additional on the carry, gets across midfield into Anahuac territory. Gets enough for the first down, 45-yard line. Number 14, Terry Closey on the carry. That's his way to the 33-yard line, first and 10. Flags at the snap. Ball center call against Orangefield. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down, 15 to go.
First down and 15. Panther 38-yard. Bobcats moving right to left. Bobcats in all white. Trousers are white. The jerseys are white. Numerals in orange. Orange helmets with the white Bobcat ball. With the white bow on the side of the helmet. Quickly to the line of scrimmage. Pitch right. Dishley looking for somewhere to go. Is going to be tapped down. He's going to pick up 3.
Corey Dishley on the carry. Gain of 3. Second down, 12. 40 Dishley on the carry. Out of bounds at the 1-yard line. First and goal to go. Gain of less than a yard. Second down, goal to go. Number 10, Parker on the quarterback keeper into the end zone for the Bobcats.